So my last video on Squid Game's Challenge Mingle did really well. Genuinely, guys, I was kind of shocked by the turnout for that one. So I figured this week I'd be talking about my favorite challenge from season 1 of Squid Game, this being the 5th challenge, Glass Bridge. Because genuinely, this is the challenge that I keep thinking of from season 1 the most, and I figured, hey, let's talk about it and get into it. The art of the challenge. As discussed in my last Squid Game video, when you're writing competition fiction, the challenges should never be the focus, but instead work best as the instrument of how we can explore the characters in the cast. Mingle, the game I talked about last time, is basic. It was used as a vehicle to instead build out the dynamic within the season at the time it was. Working for it also, though, was a pacing that was excellent at letting us explore everyone we were working with, from Ji-hoon to Thanos to the frontmen. The Glass Bridge game has a longer period of time dedicated to it, but it's also on the back of intersplicing the infiltration and VIP subplots, but the root of the challenge takes place in nearly real time, and I think we should unpack it. What even is the Glass Bridge game? The rules of this game are simple. 16 players must first select numbers without knowing what the game is. After a heated selection, they head in to find the bridge with 18 pairs of glass tiles. Randomly, in each pair, one tile is normal glass and the other tempered glass. If you go onto the normal glass, you fall to your death and the tile's destroyed. So players can't pick that one anymore. From here, the players are given 16 minutes to cross in what's presumed to be the order that the numbers were selected. And it doesn't really get more basic than that. It's one or two, you pick wrongly, you die, you know. The penultimate game in Squid Game is more luck than anything else, and the terror it casts upon the remaining players is absolutely insane. Up until this last point, each challenge had a key, a skill that you could really take out of your pocket and take control of the game. Speed for red light, green light, precision for honeycomb, strength for tug of war, and controlling your own conditions and getting to set your own key in marbles. In Glass Bridge, there is no key. If you're the first player to the bridge, the odds of survival are 1 in 262,144. So you gotta wonder, how does Squid Game evoke drama out of a luck game? And for that, we really need to look into our case studies. Doksu, I think, winds up being one of the first case studies, and he's been the driving force in season 1 as the technical endgame villain. Doksu has till this point of the game has been the biggest threat amongst the players. He builds for himself his reputation amongst the players on his raw strength and intimidation factor, but he's been left in a rough position for this game because he's number 9, and if he plays by the rules, he is most certainly doomed. So, when you are doomed, you stall and force those behind him to do his dirty work, as he's been kind of doing this whole game, because quite frankly, when someone loses the skill they've used as the crutch their whole life, and it's put in a life or death situation, you wind up squirming. But ultimately, Doksu is done in by the person who's seen more of him than anyone, and she is... Han Minyo is one of the most interesting characters within the first season of Squid Games, and it's because she's the foil in contrast to Doksu. She winds up being arguably the character with the least amount of power in the games, and Minyo winds up vacillating between helping Ji-hoon and his allies in games like Tug of War, to also being tied to Doksu and his inner circle. Despite this, she's thrown under the bus at several points, and winds up being the odd woman out of marbles, getting a spare pass in a very lucky moment. Of course, during the Glass Bridge game, she winds up being 2 numbers behind Doksu, and when Doksu pulls his stalling gambit, the burden winds up placed on her shoulders after the elimination of the number between them, number 10. So, face to face with Doksu, she has a choice: play his game or take him down. And in the echo of the trick that she learned in Ji-hoon's team back in Tug of War, she decides to lean back and make the sacrifice to take Doksu with her. And I think the thing that's fascinating between Minyo and Doksu is they serve to truly just be at this contrast. Doksu serves to operate from a position of power for his entire run in the first Squid Game, while Minyo is literally anywhere but that. And both, regardless, serve as the more ruthless players in the game. But when they're finally set on a course where they're each other's obstacle, both act as they always have been. But of the two, only Minyo has been really able to play the Squid Game from a position without power, and through being in her natural element, she winds up being able to bring down Doksu and with her. The scene's one of the best in the entire challenge and really emphasizes why these two's dynamic has been so engaging for the season. The charm of these characters being foils really raises the bar in any of their interactions, and that's a genuine beauty to it. Okay, so one more person to talk about, shall we? So, Ji-hoon's like one of the best leads ever crafted for a TV show. He has this major sense of likability that makes him so integral to Squid Game as a show working, and it winds up being one of the most interesting characters given the challenges he's faced with. But the thing about the glass bridge is we wind up seeing Ji-hoon in his most passive position yet. He's responsible for having his heart save him from the fate of being player number 1, but once that happens, more than any other challenge, Ji-hoon's without things to do, because by reflection of his number, he's in the back of the line. And I think one of the things that's really incredible with this character is his luck is really good. One of Ji-hoon's biggest traits in Squid Game is just being one of the luckiest people, and it rings true in this challenge too, where he winds up being the luckiest by far and away. And it's interesting seeing how even by the end of this game, when faced by the lethal shards of glass, Ji-hoon's luck winds up, of all things, serving to be detrimental to those who surround him. But he survives time and time again. And I think there's a lot of interesting things about that part of his character. I think one of the details about Squid Game that makes it so fun to go and reanalyze is that we, the audience, have the capacity to break down games like this. We see with our own two eyes how whatever the set piece is, it winds up being able to help us further understand the participants who take part. And I think if you guys wound up liking this deep dive into the glass bridge, that's fantastic. Last month I released one going into the madness of Mingle that you should definitely check out. But if this winds up succeeding too, I'm pretty excited to give Marvel's its own video of coverage. Competition fiction is genuinely one of the most fascinating pieces of the genre, whether it's fake reality shows or fake death games, or real death games at the point. They always wind up being really fascinating vehicles to explore characters and furthermore the human condition. And I'm not going to be really out of topics in this realm for a while, so if you want to see more, subscribe, stick around, and I'll be working on more videos within these kinds of genres the more popular that the videos are. I wound up, February's been a weird month for me as far as YouTube goes, because I've gotten, I did one video. I did the kind of pregnant one, and that one was fine, I guess. I just was not qualified to well, I was qualified, but it was a weird choice for me, I think, to make. And yeah, I'm gonna be doing less videos on just movie bad kind of reviews. But stick around, subscribe. I've got Patreon. We're getting really, really close to getting monetized on YouTube, and once that happens, I'm very excited for things to come. I've got a lot of projects I want to work on, and I think this next few months is going to be a great time because we got what should hopefully be another major retrospective on an animated franchise and part 4 of Rankin Bass on the horizon. So it should be fun. I'm excited. But yeah, take care, guys. Enjoy yourselves, and see you in the next video. Bye.